Shalom. Giving all praise to Yahweh Shemel Shai Bashem Rakah Kodash. Giving all praise to Yahweh Shemel Shai Bashem Rakah Kodash. And to the Holy Spirit. And shalom to the hopeful elect out there. I'm going to entitle this lesson, Take It and Eat It Up. This is from Revelation 10, verse 9. I started it just going into Ezekiel chapter 3. So I went to the commentary just to see what they got to say about it. So when I went to Ezekiel 3, one of the precepts that they sent me to was Revelation 10, which makes all the sense in the world, because if you're going into Ezekiel chapter 3 or Ezekiel chapter 2 and 3, and you're teaching, you're teaching on that particular subject about eating the roll and going out and teaching the sons of Israel, which the word there is sons, not children. What precept should come to mind is immediately is Revelation chapter 10, the last couple of verses. So let me write here. So what I'm going to get into is I'm going to read some of these precepts. I'm going to see where the Spirit takes me. I don't know how long this is going to be, but we had a class after camp class, and so what I did was I said to the men that was there of different levels. Some brothers just came in 6 months ago, some maybe a year and a half, 2 years, some 5, and some 15 or close to 15 or even 16 years from the beginning. So, I wanted to throw the ball in their court, and I wanted to go into Daniel. We went through Daniel chapter 9, the last couple of verses, actually from the 24th verse to the end, because that's where the meat of it is. From the first verse on down to about the 23rd verse is pretty much self-explanatory. But the deep prophetic part is what people get stuck on, even scholars, is from the 24th verse. I believe that's the 27th verse, the last verse. And then from there, we went to Daniel chapter 8, the whole chapter. So like I said in my previous videos, video that I did on this particular subject, there's a couple of brothers had that nervous look, and we have gone through Daniel 8, whether it be teaching on the street or whether we did sit downs. And it's up for y'all that come into this thing. You got to eat this roll, all right? That's why it says, take it and eat it up. And when you eat it up, that means to take it into your bowels, and which is see, you can eat something and it doesn't taste right or it makes you sick. You can spit it back out. Something wrong with the food. So you're not digesting the food, so you spit it out. So when you eat good food, healthy food, you swallow it, and then what happens is, why is a restaurant called a restaurant? Because the word restaurant means to restore oneself. Restaurant means to restore. So if you're walking, you're close to home, and you're getting hungry or famished, which means to be hungry, you go to a restaurant. So food restores you, because what happens, you eat it, and what restores you is the fact that you digest it. So the same thing goes with this word. You have to eat this roll and you have to digest it. And then once you eat the roll, in the process of eating the roll and digesting the roll, then you're supposed to teach others. And the cycle the cycle starts over again. So the person that you teaching, you don't just teach any old Jake, but when you go out there, this is going out to Israelites that can hear this word, whether they're on the web, where they pass by. Like, you got a lot of these camps, to see a Sheikh woman walking by, And you say, sis, won't you come in here? They do that. There's no law against it, but that's not how you fish. For the elect, we're only dealing with the elect. You see a guy walking with his girl, he don't look like he wants to hear anything about the word. You may or may not say something to him. Then again, you may say something, ask him a question, and he may, you know, respond back to you, but you can see he really ain't into it. You say what you got to say, and you have a nice day. But then you have somebody, and it's a man, not woman, because the Most High dealing with men. He's bringing in the men as teachers, not women, but women are going to come into it. So you don't really spend a lot of time on a woman. But if a woman comes up and she's interested, maybe she's digging on you, and that's mostly what it is. When a woman normally comes up, she's digging on the teacher or one of the men up in there, or any of them. That's the true truth. But then you got women from the ancient world that were sisters back then that are coming back. So most likely these sisters or these women that come into this thing and they're diligent and listening to the word and so forth, and they're most likely, women of the past. You had great women of the past, so to speak. What I mean by that, Sarah and they're great because they're part of greatness. They were great men. So you got Sarah, which even in the book of Peter speaks about Sarah, and then you had many different women in the past that were faithful women. The woman with the 7 sons, that was a faithful woman, man. A faithful Israelite woman. But for the most part, this thing is for men, and not just any Israelite man. Well, this is for an Israelite man, and not just for an Israelite man, but the elect, one of the elect, or the potential elect, or the hopeful elect. We say we're hopeful elects, because if we get disenchanted, then guess what? We were never part of the elect in the first place. He that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. So when you come into this thing and you come on a certain level, energy level, you got to stay on that level, man. You see guys come in and they're on a high, they get up on a certain level of energy, and then you see the energy dissipates. And you might talk to them, try to build them up, or whatever the case may be. But in your mind, you're saying, well, if this guy keeps losing, levels of energy, he's going to wind up falling out. And what keeps you strong in this truth is the faith that you have. And what keeps your faith strong? By reading the scriptures and by teaching. If you got a guy that something came up and you don't see him for 3 weeks, he could have took his woman out, to Las Vegas or wherever. And he's out there for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever. He comes back. Then there's he might get a promotion for a job, but he's got to go out of town. So he's, out of town for a month, and he comes back, and then you know what I'm talking about. We all have men, or experienced men like that. When you come on this, level, you got to stay on this level. Like they say in boxing and in sports, I hope at the press conference they'll say, I hope you keep the same energy when we fight that night, on that night. So you got to keep the energy. You got to keep the energy. You got to stay on that same energy level. And you see guys, you see how he at one time he's super diligent. He's not so super diligent, and he's taking out more time. And you can see in his eyes he don't want to do this no more. So, and then eventually he'll find an excuse to leave. Or the leadership said this, I'm not agreeing with it, but you've been in this thing for 15 years. And then you leave. That's your way out. That's your excuse card, so to speak. So we're in Amos 9 says we're in a sifting period, right? So at the end of the day, the only people that's going to be left for the Most High to save are the elect and their wives and their children in their household. So when you come into this thing, whatever teachers or men above you that are teaching, that are good teachers, that teach the word, that are diligent, they're examples unto you. So you got to be like them. There's certain times where the demon will tell me, nah, you don't want to go out, just chill out. And as the demon's talking to me, I'm rebuking the demon, but I'm getting everything, my karma together. It's like it's automatic pilot with me. You know, Saturdays roll up, I got to go out. I'm at the crib, I got to do a video. Sometimes I'll sit in front of the computer, the PC, and I'll look at videos. I might see a video that a brother or elder or an apostle or bishop, whatever, put together, and I say, oh, like that. I'm gonna build on that. You know, a lot of times I'll do that. Or sometimes you'll think about a particular scripture and you say you're gonna do a video on it. So here I am, Spirit was on me to really do this video a couple of days ago. So here I am doing it right now. I didn't really put no precepts together. I'm just gonna go with the Spirit. And another thing you can do is it can make your life easier. You go to word search, or you go to like Blue Letter, and you might want to deal with you might put in the word prophet, prophecies, prophesy, prophetic, put those words together and get some precepts. And you might find 30, 40 precepts. You may pull out 5 or 6 or 10, but then as you put them together, other precepts come to your mind. So let's just get on into it. What I want to do is I want to read Ezekiel chapter 2 and Ezekiel chapter 3, the whole Ezekiel chapter 2 and some of Ezekiel chapter 3. But let me read this in Revelation 10, verse 9. What I'm getting at is if you come in on one level, on a high level, and you diminish and you keep diminishing, you keep dropping levels, you're going to fall out, man. And then brothers is noticing you. I notice this guy don't be, he ain't like he used to be 2 years ago. And you get in the back of their mind, he gonna fall, and all of a sudden the man fall out with some excuse. But I ain't like the way a certain brother looked at me. It says, and I went unto the angel and said unto him, give me the little book. And the little book represents the scriptures. Now we read the scriptures out of the smartphone or the PC. You pull up a scripture. You might not know exactly. You might know it's in Jeremiah somewhere, in Jeremiah 50, 51, 49. The least of them shall draw them out. That's in Jeremiah 49, but it's in another place in the scripture. So you want the other scripture. So you put in the least of them shall draw them out, and then the Jeremiah 49 come up, and any other scriptures similar to that will come up as well. So what you got from that one precept, you got 3 or 4 precepts, which can lead you into other precepts. All right. So it says, give me the little book. And he said unto me, take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter. By your belly is where your digestive part, the digestive part of your body, meaning you ate it, you chewed it down, and it went through your system into your gut, into your stomach, into you have a large intestine and a small intestine, and it goes within that whole system, and that's nutrients to the rest of your body. All right. It says, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. A lot of people, most brothers, I'll say, that come into this thing, they're happy to be in this. And they look forward to speaking. But then they might have a timetable. Oh, if this place doesn't go down, the elders are speaking about the end. If this place don't go down in 2 years, I don't know what I'm going to do. And 2 years coming around and we're still here. And there's all kinds of signs, but you don't see the signs because you ain't looking for the signs. You're watching the BET Awards or you playing video games and you're not watching the news. So you don't see, I don't see nothing happening. Yeah, you don't see nothing happening because you're not looking for them. So anyway, when it's the bitter part, when you taste the honey is good, and then when you digest it, that's that's the test to see if you really about this truth. You might be called in on your job to the office, and they'll pull out a video. Are you a black Hebrew Israelite? Yeah. And you might say, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Then they pull out, and this happened to a brother. I'm not going to tell you who he is. And they actually brought out a video, and they said, "Is that you?" That's how the devil. That's how the devil rolls. And then, sure enough, he was fired or he quit or whatever the case may be. And then other people that he worked with, that he did work on, let's say, I don't want to deal with that guy. He might poison me. He might stab me or something. So you're gonna go through these things. You might have let me see. You might have a woman that you and her were Baptists and you came to the truth, but if she's a preacher's kid and she ain't gonna leave the Baptist church, but you wanted to be in it, and there's gonna be arguments when you have kids and all that nonsense. And what religion are we gonna train them in? And that's part of it. That's all part of it, man. And some brothers, they'll fall off with their women, man. And that's one of the main things that'll get you out that truth. Get you out of the truth is this woman. That's why best thing to do, not even tell them you Joe Smo and you don't know. You know what I'm saying? Now she might see you in a video. Oh, I see you a black Hebrew Israelite. And then okay, the jig is up. And then she might ask questions. You tell her this, that, and the third. And she might come around and start to believe it. She might find out, oh, my uncle, he's Israelite too. He's an ISUPK or whatever. And another thing I want to say, I get this now and again. I'll get brothers, even in state, the New York camp, and even out of state. I get this all the time, that they work at jobs where an ISUPK member might be working, and they know each other, but they kind of, okay, that's him. Let him do him. I'm do me. The one brother recently said, he was talking about there was a video of the IUIC, and the main dude was speaking to these church members. So I did a video on the individual, and then one of the GMS brothers, I forget who it was, he said, "Oh, I work with that dude. He's a bug out." So you're gonna have IUIC and GMS members working at the same job, and know that they each Israelites, right? Now, in the case of the brother in New York, he works with a guy that's IUIC, but they talk. They talk to each other. They cool with each other. You know what I'm saying? But you're gonna have that. You're gonna have that, and then you're gonna have, we had this at least one time. One brother on the islands, he's part of GMS, and then he all of a sudden he said, I'm not with y'all GMS no more. I'm getting with the IUIC. I don't know what's up with him now. I don't know if he's still in it or what, but he started with GMS and he went with the IUIC. But anyway, let me just get into this. Like I said, I'm gonna go into Ezekiel chapter 2 and part of Ezekiel chapter 3. So I was reading the commentary, right? It says here, and this is a hell of a scripture right here. This is the new precept, and I'm pretty sure I read it, but never put it in context with these scriptures. So Jeremiah 15 and 16. It's a Revelation 10, 9 to 10. The prophet absorbs the word of the Most High. Absorb meaning the thing going into you, like a sponge absorbs liquid, right? in our phrase, he makes it his own or identifies himself with it. Jeremiah 15 and 16. Let's read that. Your words were found, and I did eat them. And your words was to me the joy and rejoicing of my heart, my mind. That's the sweet part. It was in my mouth, sweet as honey. Rejoice of my heart or mind, for I am called by your name. Whose name? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai's name. So if you don't acknowledge the Most High's name is Yahweh and the Son's name is Yahweh Shai, you really have it. If you question it, oh no, his name is Ahiah and his son's name is Yeshaya. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is not dealing with them guys. GOCC, the Most High is not dealing with them guys at all, period. If you say, well, we don't know the name, well, guess what? The Most High don't know you. Because what is it saying? Famous Amos 3 and 7. I will do nothing but I will reveal my secrets unto the servants and the prophets. So if you don't know it, well, I don't really know his name, I'm not sure of it, then you're not a prophet. It says, and your word was to me the joy and rejoicing of my heart, for I am called by your name. And the name that the Lord gave us is Israel, which is prince, sons. It means, Israel means son of God or prince of God. O Lord Yahweh, the Most High of hosts. So I like that one. Now, you know what I'm going to do? Let me go to the King James, and then I'm going to go to the NLT. Thy words were found, and I did eat them, and thy word was unto me the joy and rejoicing of my heart, for I am called by thy name, O Yahweh, the Most High of hosts. Let me read this. I sat not in the assembly of mockers, nor rejoice. I sat alone because thy hand, for thou hast filled me with indignation. Now, this right here, you know what I'm thinking about? Captain Desariac, for example, he sits in with the so-called Black consciousness community. And you know what they do? They get his take on it, but then they come against it. So they're mockers, right? So we're not supposed to sit with mockers. We're at the point where if somebody comes up and he's a 5%er, we're not to hear his side of the story of his view on the meaning of life is. This is not a discussion. We don't discuss. We teach. The colleges have professors. You don't go to the school, to a class under a professor to discuss something with them. You go to teach. To be taught. So you have none of you Israelites, you real Israelites, you know what I mean by that? I mean, a man that's a teacher and so forth. You ain't got no business dealing with them guys. You ain't got no business going to, debates with them where you know the outcome is going to, what the outcome is going to be. And this goes hand in hand with 2 Corinthians 6, starting from about the 13th verse. So, we ain't got nothing to say to Sarnetta or any of those guys in the Black conscious community. The Moors come up, the Moors better come up ready to take notes. We ain't comparing the Moors ways to the Israelite ways. We run shit up in here. You just live here. You know where I got that from? Because this one guy came up and we were going back and forth with him. And then he said, well, let me say what I got to say. And I said, you ain't got nothing more to say. He said, ain't this a discussion? I said, nope. I said, this is not a discussion. There's a stone cold dictatorship. Either you listen to what we say, you keep it keep it moving. And the dude got mad and said, I'm gonna keep it moving. I said, well, you have a nice day. That's it. That's all you got to do, man. This is not hard. Eat this roll and then go out and teach the children. It didn't say eat this roll and debate with other religions. Eat this roll and have discussions with other people. Didn't say that. It was two simple things. Eat this roll, digest this roll, and go out and teach the Israelites. So what's all this? Oh, that'll cut down, that'll stop a Christian in a minute. But the Lord dealt with other nations. The other nations in the New Testament are Israelites. Now, I might ask them a question. Does the Most High change? Now, if they know that scripture, the Most High change is not there for you sons of Jacob and not consumed. So did the Most High change in the New from the Old Testament to the New Testament? No, he didn't, because that would make him a liar. So when you go back to Ezekiel chapter 3, it says, eat this roll and go out to teach the Israelites. With no new commandment. That's why you don't deal, the worst people you can deal with is a Christian, because a Christian is a blockhead. They're a complete blockhead, man. They're out of their fucking minds. It said, I sat not in the assembly. What is the assembly? A gathering of people. The only people you're supposed to assemble with are people of like manner, Israelites, of the mockers, because they mock you behind your back. Nor rejoice. I sat alone because of thy hand, for thou hast filled me with indignation. I mean, you can read this whole chapter. Which I'm not going to. Let me look up the word mockers. And anybody that's a part of GMS, a member of the camp, he's out there holding posts with the garment on. You are readers and you are teachers. You're just not a guy that's a part of GMS that just sits around. So you got to grow in this thing. You got to know all these breakdowns, man. He said, I sat not with the assembly. The word is sawad. And it says of mockers, which is shak. So let's look this up. Shakak. To laugh, play, mock, to laugh, usually in contempt or derision, meaning disrespect, to sport, play, to make sport, to jest, to play, including instrumental music, singing, dancing, to laugh mockingly. See, in this truth, we ain't supposed to laugh, sing, dance, and nothing like that. Now you go. Now the scripture does say, stammering lips. It means to be buffoonish. So sometimes you're gonna be a little buffoonish. You're not gonna sound like Alexander Scorby. But sometimes I'll throw a little joke in there. I might say inside joke. Well, that's within the scriptures. A little levity. So let me come back over here. So you ain't got no business hanging out with anybody that's not in the truth. You can initially go and try to wake them up, but if they don't wake up, just leave them alone. So it says here, the 16th verse again. Let me start the 15th verse. O Yahweh, thou knowest, remember me and visit me and revenge me of my persecutors. Take me not away in thy long suffering. Know that for thy sake I have suffered rebuke. Yeah, I became a fool for the Messiah's sake. Prisoner of the Messiah, yoke fellow, Paul said. Thy words were found, and I did eat them. and thy word was unto me the joy and rejoicing of mine heart. The word there is la, which means mind. For I am called by thy name, O Yahweh Yahweh, the Most High of hosts. So now let's come back over here. So it says, to assimilate this revelation of the divine purpose seems to prompt. Now, when we were doing the after camp class, there was this woman, one of the Latin tribes. She could have been Simeonite, I believe she was Simeon, could have been Ephraim, and she was walking with this dude. You know, she had short shorts on, but when she passed us, she crossed the south and she said, you know, in Spanish, Dios, you know, and basically it was like what Dominicans do in Ephraim. A lot of Dominicans, when they leave, when you see them come out the house, the older ones especially, as soon as they come out the door, they put that the sign of the cross up there and they say a little prayer. Will show you that they're Israelites. They have a zeal towards the Most High, but not according to knowledge. So that's what she did. When she passed us, it was like her passing a church, and she didn't notice. She was walking so fast she couldn't assess to see what these guys were. She didn't see the Bibles in our hands. She just saw a bunch of men speaking, and we were speaking in English, of course. But the Spirit made her say, "Hable Dios," blah blah blah, whatever she had to say. And then she kept it moving. I mentioned it. I said, you notice she showed that respect. It was a spirit that jumped on her. So there's a lot of people that look at us and they kind of know, well, these are spiritual men. They just know. All right. So it says, to assimilate this revelation of the divine purpose seems to promise a delightful experience, but the bliss and security of the saints, he soon realizes, involve several trials, tests. Revelation 11:2. But the court which is without the temple leave out and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles. Those are the other nations. And the holy city shall they tread underfoot 40 and 2 months. So who's going to trample on the holy city 40 and 2 months, 3.5 years? The Gentiles. That's also in Luke 21, Matthew's 21, Matthew's 24. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and get it. Now it says in Romans 11, 25 and 26, I think it's a 26th verse, until the time of the Gentiles be come in. That's talking about the Israelites, foreigners, so to speak, not the actual Gentiles. Now here, let's go to Matthew 24, and we may go to Luke 21. And you got to take this serious. Any of you that came into this thing, you got to take this thing seriously, man. This is your first priority, man. This is your first priority. If you taking this thing lightly, the Most High gonna take that spirit from you. He's gonna take that spirit from you. He's gonna put you back out there in the world, and then you're gonna have 8 demons on you. Let me see. What I say? Oh, Gentiles. That's the word. The hell did I just do? Gentiles. Okay, Gentiles. Okay, it's Luke 21. Let me go to Luke 21. 21. Okay, it's there 3 times. Okay, Luke 21, verse 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword. This is 70 AD. This is 70 AD that took place. And shall be led away captive into all nations. That's a fulfillment also in many places in the Bible. Passage in the Bible about us being scattered. The one that comes to mind is immediately is Deuteronomy 28, 64. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles. Who's in our land right now? The Gentiles. Until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So they're getting ready to be burnt up out of that place. Let me do this here. Just to see what the commentators have to say. All right, let me do this. Okay, Bible Hub. Beautiful. Fall by the edge of the sword. Genesis 34, verse 26. Let's see what that says. And they slew. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Led away captive in all nations. Josephus speaks of 97,000 Israelites sent to various provinces and to the Egyptian mines. Shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, so that the very thing happened with which the Maccabees had tried to avert by their fortification. First Maccabees 4, verse 60, all sorts of Gentiles, Romans, Saracens, Persians, Franks, Norsemen, Turks have trodden down Jerusalem since then. But it's really 70 AD. 70 AD is when they really took it over. Because at post Maccabees, we were still in the land. Until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. By the times, seasons, or opportunities of the Gentiles is meant the period allotted for their full evangelization. No, 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 you got it wrong. So they have here Romans 11:25, which has nothing to do with this. Blindness is in part is happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. The fullness of the Gentiles be come in is when all the Israelites that would wake up at a Gentile state of mind come into this thing. Because like I said, it goes back to a certain number. Most High is dealing with numbers. He's not dealing with all of Israel. So they went off on that. So now let's come back over here. Where am I? So Jeremiah 15, verse 16, beautiful, beautiful precept. Your words were found, and I did eat them, and your words was to me the joy and rejoicing of my heart, and my mouth was sweet as honey, and my belly it became bitter. For I am called by your name, O Lord Yahweh, the Most High of hosts, to assimilate this revelation of the divine purpose because what you're into is a divine calling, seems to promise a delightful experience, but the bliss and security of the saints, the Israelites, he soon realizes involves severe trials. The ultimate trial is coming up very soon, inside of months. That's the charagma, which you have General Nathaniel. He's breaking it down completely wrong, and he's going to have to, he's going to have to revisit that subject when they actually make that breaking news. Oh, you got to get a chip. It says for them as well as catastrophes for the world. Hence, the feeling of disrelish with which he views his new vocation as a what? As a seer, as a prophet. Vocation means a calling, a job, as a seer. So you don't become a seer. The Most High makes you a seer. You don't get up one day and say, oh, I think I'll be a prophet. I saw a couple of YouTube videos of the Israelites. I'm going to make my own thing up. But if you was not a prophet in the past life, you're not going to be a prophet now. That's what the oil, the 10 virgins, the 5 wise and 5 foolish are all about. The ones that's going to stick with this thing had the oil in a past life. They were prophets, and the spirit of the prophets is subject unto the prophets. That's why Elijah came back as John. That's why John came back as Abba. It said the distasteful experience is but first in Revelation 10:9. And I went to the angel and said unto him, give me the little book. And he said, and we open with that, take it and eat it, and it shall make your belly bitter, but it shall be in your mouth sweet as honey. As being the unexpected element in this situation, the omission of bitterness, omission meaning to take out, Ezekiel 3:14. Right, it didn't go into the bitter part. It says, so the Spirit lifted me up and took me away, and I went in bitterness in the heat of my spirit. But the Lord of hosts, or the Lord, was strong on me. Renders it unlikely that this additional trait of unpleasant taste is due, as Spitta thinks, to an erroneous combination of Ezekiel 3 and 2. So I opened my mouth and caused me to eat. So I opened my mouth and he caused me to eat the roll. 14 verse. So the Spirit lifted me up, and we read that. The natural order occurs in Revelation 10 and 10. It takes you back to Revelation 10. And I took the little book and out the angel's hand and ate it, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I eaten it, my belly was bitter. And I'm gonna go back to that. Okay, so I'm right here, right? This is why guys fall off. The sweet part is good. Oh, they can eat the sweet stuff all day. But when they digest it and it's bitter in their belly, they don't want that, man. They want it farming it back up. Okay, this is Revelation 10 verse 10. But rather that ye prophesy. Be occupied in prophecy. That's Ecclesiasticus, I believe that's 39:1. And I took the little book out of, so now you understand why guys fall off. Well, wait a minute, this guy was in this thing for 11 and a half years. This brother was in this thing for 14 years. He came in the beginning. Why did he fall off? He fell off because he didn't have the oil. He fell off because he was never a prophet in his previous life. Hence, we call ourselves the hopefully elect. If we endure to the end, the Most High promise he's going to deliver us, man. You want to make sure you're going to make it, give diligence to make that calling and election sure. You're called first, and then you're chosen. Many are called, but few are elect. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. So now let me look up belly and bitter. Let's look up the word belly.
Strong's G 2836, koilia. Koilia.
Koilia. Hollow. The whole belly, the entire cavity, the upper, the stomach, and the lower belly are distinguished. The lower belly, the lower region, the receptacle of the excrement, the gullet, to be given up to the pleasures of the palate, to gluttony, the womb, right, in woman, the place where the fetus is conceived and nourished until birth. Also, we're talking about a woman, of the uterus of animals, the innermost part of a man, the soul, heart, as the seat of thought, feeling, and choice. So when guys fall off, they make a choice to fall off. You make a statement, you say, I have a gut feeling about this thing. Your gut is your belly, your digestive system. And it was at 80%, 75 to 80% of your immune system is found in your gut. Most diseases come from the gut, is what you eat. When you sit and you have any disease, I'll say, if not 100%, damn near close to it. It's something that has to do with you eating, the diet the environment that you live in, the diet that you eat. Oh, by the way, I did a 24 intermittent fast today. I did a 20. I started eating. Last meal I ate was about 6 p.m. And the next meal that I ate was at 2 o'clock, a little after 2. And I could have did a 24. The only thing I drank was some water. So now let's do this. So this word's got to get into your gut. What the hell did I just do? Did I go to the right word? Bear me for a minute. Bear me for a minute. Bitter, bitter. That's what we want, bitter. Pick rhino.
Strong's G 4087, picrino. Picrino.
So let's look it up and let's go to the root. To make bitter, to produce a bitter taste in the stomach, to embitter, to exasperate, render angry, indignant, to be embittered, irritated, to visit with bitterness, to grieve, deal bitterly with. When you first come into the truth, it tastes good. But then when you go through these different trials and tribulations, your boss saw you, so forth, and this happened and that happened, and your woman left you because she found out you was an Israelite because her mother's an Edomite, then that's gonna make you mad, right? So this is why guys fall off, because their thing is, I'll be in this thing for 2 years. If the Lord don't come back, I'm leaving. So 2 years go by, you're still here, ain't nothing changed, seem like. And you say, well, I told myself I was going to leave. I gave the Lord some time. He didn't come when I wanted him to come. So I'm out of there. Well, guess what? He's going to come when the time you think not. You guys better take this thing seriously. And when you come into this camp, you have to be a teacher. You have to be a teacher. You have to be a reader. You have to be a teacher. And you got to be an eater. Oh, so now let me do this. Let me do this. This is almost like a basic lesson. Ezekiel chapter 2. We're going to breeze through this. Only 10 verses long. The prophet's call. And he said unto me, Son of man, stand up upon thy feet, and I will speak unto thee. And the Spirit entered into me when he spake unto me and set me upon my feet. And I heard him that spake unto me, and he said unto me, Son of man, and son of man means son of the earth. Adama, which means son of the earth, meaning terrestrial man. I send thee to, now the word there is sons of Israel. Let me prove that. See, children, the word there is sons. It says son, but it should be son. It should be bun yum. Right? Bun yah means my son, but it should be bun yum. Yasha Allah. So this was, you're sent out to the men. The women want to come along for the ride, they can. They can ride off your back. I send thee to the sons of Israel, to a rebellious nation that have rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me, even unto this very day. What's today's date? 7/24/2023. Hopeful year of all prophecies coming to pass. Fourth verse. For they are impudent children and stiff-hearted. I do send thee unto them, and thou shalt say unto them, Thus saith the Lord power. And they, whether they will hear or forbear, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are what? A rebellious house. And the word rebellion means to go back to war. When you look that word up, it means rebellion means to go to war against. Rebellion means to go to war against again. So he said this, so the majority of our people is going to not accept it. The only ones that's going to understand it and see it and accept it and come into that circle are the elect. Yet shall know that there have been a prophet among them. So you teach, you do these videos, the ones that talk shit about it, well, they're marked. The ones that listen and do nothing about it, they're marked. The ones that come in, they're marked with that mark in Ezekiel chapter 9, which is exempt from judgment. The word there for mark in Ezekiel chapter 9 and 4 is exempt from judgment. Matter of fact, let me prove that right quick. Zechariah 9. I'm sorry, Zechariah 4 and 9. Let me come back. Zechariah. See, I haven't been to that. 4. Let's see what that says. Ezekiel. I'm losing it, bro. Ezekiel 9. Ezekiel 9. Also, we know this by heart. And set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry, look for all the abomination that be done in the midst thereof. So let's deal with the word mark. Mark. The word there is thawa. Thawa. Mark as a sign of exemption from judgment. The Most High is not going to destroy you. On these guys that fall off, the Most High takes everything from them. They might know a few precepts. They might know that they're Israelites or the tribe of Judah or whatever. But they're going to take the charagma because the Most High took it from their mind to not take it. In other words, when you came into this, you were taught by us to don't take it. When it comes, don't take it. They're going to take it because the Most High is going to take that part of the scriptures out of their mind. They're going to stay here in America and eat a missile if they live long enough, because the Most High is going to take it out of their mind to leave this place. Like if they left knowing this truth and they just went back into the world, they would say, you know what? Let me go move to Australia somewhere. Let me go to Canada or someplace so I don't get hit with the missiles. No, the Most High takes that part of the scriptures or prophecies out of you so you can accept the missile. Sixth verse, I don't know if I read this, and I'm gonna get ready to close. And thou, son of man, be not afraid of them, neither be afraid of their words, though briars and thorns be with thee, and thou doest dwell among scorpions. What does a scorpion do? A scorpion doesn't injure you. A scorpion kills you with their sting. Be not afraid. Now, I don't know what that Hebrew word is for scorpion. Be not afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. I want to look up the word scorpions or scorpion. Yeah, the word there was scorpion. Scorpion. Iqarab. Iqarab. Scorpions be not afraid of their words, nor like when they come against, like the Christians are, they got these these Jakes following this vocab, the Pied Piper demon, to come against us. So just resist them and hope like they walk down the street. You ain't got no business talking to a Christian at this point, period, man. Either might come up and watch your videos and ask you about Gentiles. They're going to ask you the same thing. It's going to go in a basic conversation that we done covered millions of times. And you just tell the Edomite to say, look, if you're an Edomite, you look like an Edomite, but you could be a Jake. If you're an Edomite, you're going to slavery. If you're an Israelite, you don't come into this truth, you're going to die, but you're going to come back. If you look like an Edomite and you think you're an Israelite and the spirit's with you and you can rhythmically dance, then you may be an Israelite and you come into this thing, you're diligent, and guess what? You're going to be delivered. That's all you got. And then you can say, look, I ain't got nothing to walk. But what about this scripture? What scripture? It says Gentiles and says heathens in the New Testament. Those are Israelites. Next question. It says, be not afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. Because who's he talking about? Who's going to be rebellious against us? The Israelites that are not of the elect. And thou shalt speak, and thou shalt speak my words, not your words. If they ask you a question, you filter it through the scriptures. And thou shalt speak my words unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are most rebellious. How more rebellious can you get from being shot at or getting jumped on or get arrested by the police? But thou, son of man, hear what I say unto thee, be not thou rebellious like that rebellious house. Because what's going to happen to that rebellious house, which is the majority of our people in this land? They're going to eat a missile. A lot of them going to starve to death. A lot of them going to kill each other and eat each other's body. Upon thy mouth and eat that I give thee. So when I threw that question out, who can break down Daniel chapter 8, the whole chapter, everybody's hand should have went up. If you're part of the camp, everybody's hand should have went up. Not saying there was men in there that did know the breakdowns, but I was dealing with some of the newer brothers. 9th verse. And when I looked, behold, an hand was sent unto me, just like John on the Isle of Patmos, and lo, a roll of a book, which roll meaning scroll, was thereon. So he got a little book, which is the same thing. It represents the scriptures. And he spread it before me, and it was written within and without, and there was written therein lamentations and mourning and woe, because that's the Most High going to send lamentations and mourning and woe to this place. Ezekiel's commission. Remember, Yahushua gave the commission to the originally the 12. Really, originally it was 84. That was in Matthew 10. That was the Great Commission. So it said, I'm going to read a couple of verses and I'm going to close. It says, moreover, he said unto me, son of man, eat that thou findest, eat this roll or this little book in Revelation 10, and go speak unto what? The house of Yasha'Allah, the Israelites, starting with the men. So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. And he said unto me, son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee. Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. Now we know that it was bitter when it went into his body, but that was mentioned in Revelation 10. And he said unto me, son of man, go get thee unto the house of Israel, the Israelites, and speak with my words. There it goes again. Speak with my words unto them. You'll be guilty of adding and taking away from the book. For thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech, and of an hard language, but to the house of Yasha'Allah. Not to many people of a strange speech and of an hard language, whose words thou canst understand. Surely, had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto me. But the house of Yasha, the house of Bayath Yasha'Allah will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Yasha'Allah are impudent, without power, and hard-hearted. We say hard-headed. A hard head make a soft behind. So, hey, we at the last months of this thing, in my humble opinion, we should be out of here. Should, not will, but should, hopefully, inside of 24, 25. Hopefully we out of here by the end of 24, mid 24, early 25, mid 25. But who knows? Just when, but I'll say this: when the Charagma is made mandatory throughout the whole planet, we're gonna be out of here with inside. I would say, in my humble opinion, I would say inside of maybe 3-4 months, maybe sooner. That's the time of Jacob's trouble. See, the time of Jacob's trouble is going to come after the majority of the world is microchipped. Behold, I have made thy face strong against their faces, and thy forehead strong against their foreheads. As an adamant harder than flint have I made thy forehead. Fear them not, neither be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. Because Jacob's out there looking to kill you. You tell them that they're Israelites and they're blessed, and they're looking out to kill you, man. Moreover, he spake unto me, son of man, all my words that I shall speak unto thee, receive in thine heart, thy mind, and hear with thine ears, and go get thee to them of the captivity. Are we not in captivity right now? Unto the children or the sons of thy people, and speak unto them, and tell them, thus saith Yahweh, or whether they will hear or whether they will forbear. In the case of the IUIC going to them churches, they should have went to the church, been out there for 5 minutes. They got that pushback. They said, okay, no problem. We out of here. Shake the dust and never come back. So what they started doing, they had churches coming against y'all now, coming to your schools. Then the Spirit took me up, and I heard behind me a voice, a great rushing, saying, blessed be the glory of the Lord Yahweh from this place. And I heard also the voice of the wings of the living creatures. Those are the ships, the UFOs, so you can speak, so to say, in the first chapter. The first chapter of Ezekiel, he sees these angels come down in these fantastic ships, wheels over against them, and noise of great rushing. So the Spirit lifted me up and took me away, and I went in bitterness in the heat of my spirit, but the hand of Yahweh was strong upon me. Then I came to them of the captivity. So that was back then. But so what this applies to who? To us now. I have made thee what? A watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth, and give them warning from me. Let's look up the word watchman. Look, when the sea ragamuffin came out, did not we warn you? But you had other camps that said, oh no, you can take it. Go ahead and take it. Take it if you have to. That's what General Netanyahu said. He said, go ahead and take it if you have to. You can go to my Odyssey page and you can watch that video. He said, go ahead and take it if you have to. And then the Passover 2022, when he got out the hospital, he said that 22 people, I believe he said either 20 or 22 people had died from the sea ragamuffin. And why? Because they took the jab listening to him. I have made thee a watchman. So the prophets are also known as watchmen. Okay, this is tazapa, tazap, tazapa, to look out or about, spy, keep watch, observe, meaning we watch everything, man. Watch, to keep watch, spy, to watch, watch closely. Look well, wait. If it tarry, wait for it, waited. Look up, because we're looking up in the skies at the ships. And we're telling the people what those ships are all about. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say. With that, I'm going to say shalom.